Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare. Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Gaura Hare Bo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Krishna. Right, so welcome everyone. Our topic is festival effectiveness, yes, and Harinam Sankirtan effectiveness.
The power of spiritual celebration.
The power, okay, that sounds better. Yeah, power of spiritual celebration. Okay. Keep us awake. Let me begin with a little reflection on history of spiritual celebrations in our tradition. Let's get some more crying from the kids. That makes it more complete. It's part of the celebration. They're exercising their lungs. We might start with the spiritual world, where celebration is going on constantly. In third canto Bhagavatam, it's mentioned after Varahadev gives a death blow to Hiranyaksha. Afterwards, the Devas are celebrating, very happy that he has dispatched this big troublemaker, cosmic troublemaker. And then it mentions he returns back to Vaikuntha, where a festival is always going on. So that's Vaikuntha, but in Goloka Vrindavan, that's where the party is really happening. And I think we could safely say the primordial festival in Vrindavan, in Golokandam, and also in Boma Vrindavan, is the Rasa Leela. It is the occasion when Krishna plays the flute and the gopis come running and join him. And that is described famously in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapters 29, 30, 31, 32, and 33. So it's 5 chapters, and sometimes these 5 chapters are referred to as the Rasa Panchadhyaya. Rasa Panchadhyaya. Can you say this? Rasa Panchadhyaya. Yes, and Adhyaya is a chapter. Pancha means 5. So the 5 chapters about the Rasa Leela. So we can say this is the original festival. It's also a drama, and I may discuss that some tomorrow afternoon. But this is, you could say, the primordial and original. It's the Adi Rasa, and it's the Adi festival. And of course, it's also a dance. And it is an exchange, a wonderful exchange, and I think exchange is a key word when we speak about festival, spiritual festival. We're thinking about a spiritual exchange because bhakti is all about relationship. I'm giving a little overview, Maharaj, of our history of festivals. And we might, from the Bhagavatam, jump to Chaitanya Charitamrita. And here we find several accounts of festivals. The one that immediately came to my mind earlier this morning is the Panihati festival, which is was a kind of spontaneous event. Panihati is a place north of Calcutta on the Ganga, the Hooghly branch of the Ganga, and Lord Nityananda was there with his associates, and Raghunath Das appeared there, and Nityananda Prabhu, in quotation marks, he punished him by having him arrange for all of the food for the festival. And being a wealthy young man, this was no difficulty for him. And the description of that festival in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I believe also Chaitanya Bhagavata, is a very joyous affair. Typically, the festivals, well, let me go back to the Bhagavatam, because I'm thinking also another sort of primordial festival is when Krishna goes to the forest with his friends, and they play all kinds of games, and then they have lunch. And when they're having lunch, what do? They're stealing the lunch from each other, or they're feeding each other from their lunch packs. So the exchange of food is an integral element in festivities. Imagine a festival with no prasadam. Would anyone come?
The festivals are judged by the quality of the prasadam.
Typically, yes. Yes. Yeah, after the festival. So, how was the festival? Oh, the prasadam was great. That's what we remember. Chaitanya Charitamrita, many accounts of prasadam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I would say the big festival in Chaitanya Charitamrita is the Jagannath Ratha Yatra, described in Madhya Lila chapter 13 especially. And again, it's very much about exchange. In this case, multiple exchanges are going on, you could say, externally and also internally. And Krishnadas Kaviraj is particularly keen to give us, the readers, the listeners, access into the internal exchange that's going on between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Jagannath. We could also speak of later literature, and after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's departure, the famous festival, which some estimate was maybe 50 years after his departure, was the festival in Ketarigram, which is presently in Bangladesh, on the bank of the Padma River. But recently I read, I found it very interesting, historians have noted that Ketari festival was one of several festivals that were organized by the devotees who had come from Vrindavan, bringing the literature of the Goswamis to Bengal, we could say Greater Bengal, with very specific purpose, which was to bring all of the Vaishnavas together and under a clear and definite understanding of what Gaudiya Vaishnavism is. Before they came, there were all kinds of ideas floating about amongst the Vaishnavas. And so they had a very specific objective to bring the devotees together, and therefore they organized several such festivals. They would call people, all the Vaishnavas together, and they would, usually it was on the disappearance day of some prominent Vaishnava. And in those festivals, then Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda, especially, and Srinivas Acharya, they would preach. They would, and they would show the literature. They were also very, in a very focused way, they were making copies of this literature to be made available for the Vaishnavas. So those festivals were very important for the history of the formation of our tradition in we could say in the late 16th and early 17th century. Well, from there I will just jump now to our times. I like to think Srila Prabhupada introduced festivals in Tompkins Square Park. The first time he took devotees out down the street from 26 2nd Avenue to... There are two parks. One is Washington Square Park, and another is Tompkins Square Park, both within walking distance in Manhattan, in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, New York. And there, Srila Prabhupada, initially with a tom-tom drum, he didn't have a madanga, and with, I don't think they had kartals yet either. And Prabhupada would sing and the devotees would dance. There's some video that shows devotees, very early videos showing devotees. So that also already at that time was very much a festival because there was an exchange. And it was an exchange among the devotees, but also with the wider public. I would then go from that, those occasions in New York to San Francisco, where famously Malati Devi discovered a little Jagannath figure in a kind of souvenir shop, and Prabhupada identified as Jagannath and said, there are two other figures. Yes, she said, there were two other figures. She got the other two figures, and then Shyama Sundar was commissioned to carve larger murtis of Jagannath, and then in 1967 was the first Jagannath Ratha-yatra in San Francisco on a flatbed truck with the deities facing in three different directions. One of them facing, I don't know, east, the other west, and the other south. And they went on this flatbed truck. Yeah, 1967. Of course, Ratha-yatra, Jagannath Ratha-yatra has expanded throughout, over the years, over the decades. And I remember in Vrindavan, why am I saying Vrindavan? In Berlin, so many years ago, I was visiting Berlin, and devotees said, oh, it would be so nice to make Ratha-yatra, but we don't have any money. What to do? And I suggested, well, start small. Start with a palanquin and go on the sidewalk. and just have a kirtan with a side, with a small Jagannath, and you don't have to get any city permission. Here comes your garland. And so they did that, and they were very inspired to do, and they felt like, oh, let's do this again. Let's do it a little bigger. So then they made a little cart, which could also go on the sidewalk, as I remember. And they made kirtan again. They didn't need city permission. They just went out and did it, and it was so much fun and inspiring. Within, I don't know, 2-3 years, they were to the full-scale Kurfürstendamm Rathayatra. Do you remember which year that was? And then one year, the King of Puri was in Berlin. And we said, oh, Maharaj, you are here. You are the king. Your service is to do the sweeping before the cart. No, we asked him respectfully, because that is the seva of the king. And he said, oh, I'm so sorry, but I have to say that it's not possible for me to do that service outside of Puri. If I would be seen by anyone, officials from Puri, that I've done this in another city, I would be in big trouble. Yeah. So he said, it should be the mayor of Berlin. So we invited the mayor of Berlin, but he didn't appear that year. But the king of Puri, Gajapati Maharaj, he attended the procession on Kurfürstendamm, and I remember he, as is proper, the rest of us were not doing properly, he was going barefoot on Kurfürstendamm. Showing respect, we should actually go barefoot, but somehow in the West, for various reasons, generally we don't do that. But he was going barefoot, I remember. Anyway, so this festivity, Srila Prabhupada instructed devotees in Los Angeles that they could make a festival every week. And he described one or two to Tamal Krishna Goswami. And he said, I can give you a festival for every week, for every Sunday. I'll give you an event that you can celebrate. And the one that he described was churning milk to make butter. He said, get many pots and get milk and get everyone churning to make butter. And this would be a way of celebrating Damodar Lila. Yeah. So this is another aspect of celebrations. Utsava is that they are meant for remembering, for smaranam, for remembering the pastimes of the Lord, and they serve in a certain way as a kind of reenactment, so that the sense is that the Lord is present. The whole idea is that devotees want to feel the presence of the Lord, and how to do this, to remember His wonderful pastimes, and not to do this only in our own little bhajan kutirs, but together. And this together is multiplying the exchange, and this multiplication of exchange inspires the Lord to appear. Again, the Panihati festival is the case in point. The devotees were all there. Nityananda Prabhu was there. Raghunath Das Goswami was there, everything was so wonderful, and because it was so wonderful, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Not visible to everyone, but to Nityananda Prabhu and others he was visible. So those are some thoughts about our festival tradition. Maharaj, do you want to take from there? Before maybe he starts, just my apologies. At some point I'm going to be sort of rudely getting up and leaving because I have to prepare for an online meeting. But just so you know, with apologies.
Yes, you may leave at any time. At any time here. Hare Krishna. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I just want to say I very much enjoyed your presentation, Krishna-kshetra Maharaj. You said during festivals Krishna would appear, and you gave the example of the Panihati Rice Festival or the Panihati Festival where there was this kirtan going on of Lord Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Also during the Panihati Rice Festival there was another appearance of the Lord, and actually during the Ketugi Gram Festival the whole Panchatattva appeared. And I will talk about this a little, but please mark everyone Krishna-kshetra Maharaj's point that Krishna is appearing during festivals. That's the whole idea. Now there is a beautiful song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur where he actually describes the appearance of Krishna, and I will read it or sing it with you, and then I will try to give some suggestions how during this festival 2025 Krishna might appear in your life. At that time you will faint with happiness. I always feel the Vaishnava history should not be arrested in past events, but it's because this is a spiritual philosophy and spiritual movement, it's ever ongoing. So, but the whole thing is, how can we experience the same or similar experiences? So first of all, Krishna appears during festivals. There is a beautiful song, it goes like this. Shoda Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Nukula Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori Krishna Bosoti Bosoti Boli Parama Arara Pori. Please sing after me. Shoda Bhakata Charana Renu. Shoda Bhakata Charana Renu. Bhajana Anukula. Madhavati ti bhakti janani. Madhavati ti bhakti janani. Jatane palana kori. Jatane palana kori. It says this last verse which we sang, verse 2. I carefully observe Madhavas, or Krishna's holy days, such as Ekadasi and Jamashtami and Radhashtami, Brahmotsava, for they are the mother of devotion. Knowing that Krishna dwells in these holy days, with great regard, I also accept them as my residence. Think of these festivals as pregnant goddesses. There is Krishna inside. Krishna dwells in these holy days. And these festivals can be mother of devotion. That means they deliver Krishna, just like a pregnant lady delivers a child. And it can deliver this Krishna right into your hands. I have some notes here which we put together. The Sanskrit word utsava, according to an etymological tradition, that is how to explain words, is known as the remover of misery. Ut can mean removal, and sava can mean misery or also sorrow. When you come to a festival, Govinda Dev, all your misery due to not sleeping because you have a energetic child, can be removed from your life, this is because you can have a Krishna moment where Krishna appears to you. I would like to draw your attention to one of the festivals which our Professor Maharaj has mentioned. It is the Keturi Gram festival. That was a festival which was performed or organized by Narottam Das' brother, cousin, Krishnananda, and Narottam as a spiritual organizer in Keturi Gram. It was very important for the Vaishnava community because it was organized just, please correct me, 1 year after Mahaprabhu's disappearance, or perhaps even more. Must 50. Be more. 50 years after Mahaprabhu's appearance.
That's one estimate. Nobody knows for sure.
Yeah, but it does make sense because Nityananda had also disappeared and before the festival. So it was. I think it makes sense. 50 years after Mahaprabhu's disappearance, and the Vaishnava world was fragmented. There were various, in your words, ideas floating around, and Narottam felt the need to reunite that all the Vaishnavas during this festival. And I heard that at that time, his cousin, he was a king, he wrote invitations out on plates of gold. and they were sent to the important Vaishnava communities like Navadvip and so on. And they would say, honorable Vaishnavas, we request the presence of your lotus feet during these festivals. No, they found some of these invitations. And from near and far, devotees came. At that time, there was a deity installation also performed. Janavama, the wife of Lord Nityananda, took care of the cooking with her assistants. And a memorable kirtan, which was sung by Narottam, where he also introduced his style of music. He had made a very important contribution to the musical part of kirtan was done. Devi Devi was the drummer, and he was singing. And during this kirtan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Acharya, Nityananda and Gadadhar and Srivas Thakur, they were seen. They were chanting and dancing. Achyutananda, the son of Advaita Acharya, was seen dancing with his father who'd left already the planet. Yes, my dear devotees. Vaishnava festivals are times when the Lord can appear. There are beautiful verses, and at another time perhaps we can talk at length. But the description is like a flash of lightning in the middle of a mass of beautiful clouds. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared amongst the multitude of his followers. And I mean, speak of reuniting the Vaishnava world, what you could do. I mean, if Mahaprabhu appeared, wow, that sent a clear message. Imagine a festival which we would do. We are very inspired in our movement by Srila Prabhupada, our founder. If he would appear, wow, this would be really something on Dandavat.com, you know, and so on. So all this as Mahaprabhu ascended, or descended with his Panchatattva members right in the midst, like a flash of light can appear here in when it's lightning time, here also in Bavaria, no problem. So this is now the idea of Vaishnava festivals. We have it from Bhaktivinoda Thakur and from the time of Mahaprabhu. The Lord can appear. In these festivals, another idea is perhaps it's not always possible that the Lord appears and we are right next to him. But one thing is for sure, during festivals, each single one of you and their dog can come in close proximity. And I'm saying this because we have Smokey here. Smokey is a little dog. They can all be in close to the Lord. There are a few things which we do in festivals that bring us close to the Lord. One is remembering the pastimes and hearing and hearing and narrating these pastimes. Tomorrow is Radhashtami. We will hear some of the Leelas of Radharani, and then there is the day after tomorrow, Brahmotsava. We will actually see a movie, and an animated Nishinga movie, which brings us close to the festival 40 years ago, which we had to bring Lord Nrsingadev on the altar, and we see other things. So, first of all, our remembrance of Krishna is increased. That's how we come closer. The next is we serve the deities. I think during great Vaishnava festivals here, we serve the deities. Look at Lord Nrsingadev. He's in his silver armor. This armor was offered to him a few years back during Nrsimha Chaturdasi, if I'm right, isn't it? It is pure silver. He is ready to go to go after Hiranyakashipu, and he will not even have a scratch on him due to the armor. So we serve the deities with new outfits, also beautiful decorations. How do you like this bluish? He looks like being in extraterrestrial, in the heavenly dimension here. We serve him by abhisheks, special artics. There will be an artik with 24 lamps. Lamps you have never seen before in your life. Then, remembering the Lord, serving the deities, then chanting together. There will be extra long kirtans. Yes. Processions will be there where we will go on procession and do Harinam Sankirtan. There is a fourth way in which we come closer to the Lord. Krishna-kshetra Maharaj has explained the need of prasadam, the joy of honoring prasadam and distributing it and eating it, and like-minded association is very, very good. But I have written down a fifth point. My dear devotees, during festivals we all come together as a community of Vaishnavas. This strengthens our community, and on an individual level, it strengthens each single one of us, because when we have association with devotees, Krishna consciousness is amplified in our heart. So in essence, my dear devotees, Vaishnava Utsavas can be seen as windows into eternity. Windows into the spiritual world, through which the timeless pastimes of the Lord come closer into our daily lives, and thus our hearts are flooded with joy, gratitude, and devotion. Let us go again through the 5 ways in which festivals work their magic. We can remember Krishna by hearing. We serve the deity by appearing for his artiks and the various processions and so on. We can chant together in long kirtans. We can share prasadam together. It's also very nice if we distribute prasadam to others. And then we can spend individual time with each other, where we talk with each other. Oh, we say to each other, how was your path? What did you experience? How could you overcome obstacles? And you might say, yesterday I gave up sense gratification, and your partner can say, oh, and today I will also give up sense gratification. And in this way we are inspiring and strengthening us. Before I end, I want to say something which we introduced during Janmashtami, we tried during Janmashtami last, I think a few weeks ago. My dear devotees, we have been given retreats in Vrindavan now for about 20 years, And 2 years ago, Bhuijan Prabhu introduced a very new form of retreat. It's a revolutionary thing in our movement. We had not been satisfied, the two of us, by our retreats because we felt it was just an information marathon, lecture after lecture after lecture, and so on. So what we did is what he did. He proposed we go from our retreat center to Giriraj. We cross the road. You have to look left and right because there's crazy Indian traffic. You go a little bit to the right, then you go a small rinky-dinky staircase up and go into the forest of Govardhan. Then you go for some time through the forest, mind the monkeys, they are also there. And you come to the Parikrama path, where many devotees of Krishna walk around Giriraj. It's in the forest, and you cross the path, and from that moment on, you are silent. No word, no ping-ping on your mobile telephone, it's switched out. And you look for your place under a tree, and then spend 2 hours alone time with Krishna. And I remember the first time I did it, I thought, well, yeah, I do this the whole month of Kartik, but still, I looked left and right, and I saw people were a little, what do we do now for 2 hours with Krishna? There's Giriraj in front of us, and all they had was a little map, a transparent map, with prompts, one prompt read, now you have sat down, look again and look at see all the things which you have overlooked when you sat down just the first time. Okay. Oh yeah, I see parents now. Oh, I see the holes in the trees in which the parent families live. Wow. And so on. Then, what do I do now? 2 hours. Okay. Then you got another prompt. You might like to chant Hare Krishna. Wow, good idea. And then the devotees chanted. Another prompt said, look in your folder, there is a match, and a matchbox, and an Arctic light. You can light the Arctic lamp and make a fire, but please put it not into the straw, which is here in the grass, so that it doesn't catch fire. And after an initial need to learn the ropes, learn what you can do, devotees were spending these 2 hours, and it became the best time in their life. Afterwards, after 2 hours, they meet in small discussion circles and discuss their experiences. And the idea here is alone time with Krishna. My dear devotees, as you go through the Utsava, the festival, don't forget the whole idea is that Krishna appears in your life. And that will most probably happen when you go before the altar, no one is there, you don't make a selfie with yourself and the deity. That could be done another time, if it is at all desired by you. And then you pray to the Lord, look at him, wait for an answer. Most probably the answer will come in your heart. a whisper in the heart, you will notice, a soft voice in the heart. And then you might get your Krishna moment, your magical Krishna moment, where Krishna appears in your life and the festival will become an unforgettable experience for you also. What do you think about this revolutionary suggestion? Wow, you think, wow, good. Yeah, please, when there is time between take part in all these ways which you have learned, which you know, which we have enumerated, these 5 points. But in addition, please spend time alone with Krishna. Best in the temple. If the temple is too full, which I can foresee that it will be full at certain times, then also outside is good. Pray, take a prayer book with you, and do whatever you do. Hare Krishna, Gadadha. Welcome. You have almost the right T-shirt. Yeah. So this would be some suggestions how to make best use of your festival. I wish you a wonderful day. The festival is very nicely arranged. I looked in the barn. There are mountains of ingredients for prasadam. It's all there. The instruments are polished and fresh on the wall. The Madanga people are there. Krishna-kshetra Maharaj will be full of ideas which he puts in the lecture. I have made many notes. Harikirtan is there with his magical guitar. I think from today it will be visible, the guitar. Yeah, and everything is there. Gadadha has come with a T-shirt specially chosen for the occasion. You can see later it has a lion, on it. So all the ingredients are there, but don't forget, the whole idea is not to party. The whole idea is to also party, but that Krishna will appear in our lives. Hare Krishna. So now the great speaker Gaura Krishna. Na, ihr könnt euch doch da hinsetzen, in die Junior Bench. No, im Ernst. Ja. Doch im Ernst.
Yes, I would like to invite Harikirtan Prabhu and Radhashtami. Hare Krishna. So yes, just to remember again, the idea of this is like a reflection session on the power of spiritual celebrations and Harinam Sankirtan. So I'm very happy. Also, the next generation is ready to say a few words. Sometimes there's too much shyness, but I think it's very nice. And of course, it would be nice if Gadara Prabhu also says a few words if you want. It's just should not be necessarily like a lecture, but as much interactive as possible, and share your realizations, reflections on the power of spiritual realizations, celebrations. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Not really the young generation anymore. Almost 50.
Wow! Stimmt.
Yeah, but definitely on the junior bench here. I was contemplating this morning what possibly I could say of value in this circle of devotees, exalted speakers. And as I was thinking about it, and also this morning in Maharaj's lecture, he had also mentioned very similar thoughts that I had gathered that I wanted to share, and I felt, okay, this is some kind of confirmation. For some of us that have the privilege to travel around almost seamlessly from festival to festival, like you were saying, this is opportunity where Lord Krishna appears in our heart, and opportunity to strengthen our relationships with one another. And this is a great blessing that I have been able to experience over the years. Maybe sometimes a little bit out of balance, forgetting the duties of grihastha life and household, but some balance is needed there. These festivals are like surgeries that we can correct our life, and we go out into the world, into our take care of our duties, but we often maybe cannot maintain in all facets our devotional life. And coming to a festival is like a big shot of Krishna consciousness, a big syringe full, in many ways, lots of ways, opportunities to serve, lots of ways to explore our own relationship with Krishna, lots of ways to perform tapasya and automatically exhausting festivals, which also has a purpose, is that sometimes our body needs to be removed out of the equation to have some kind of spiritual inclination manifest. And particularly for me, it's often connected to kirtan and to chanting and serving kirtan, serving others. And for me, I can only say I'm very grateful to have this opportunity, because I personally don't have any qualities of advancement, but I feel very secure that if I'm in that circle of service to kirtan and to Krishna's holy name, that there will be some shimmer of progress maybe rubbing off on me. So many times when I sit down to chant, and this may be also arising a question that I actually wanted to ask earlier today. It is more rare to be a guest at festivals than to be part of the festival, at least my experience, and that also brings a certain responsibility, leading kirtan and being part of the festivity. And we were talking this morning about chanting and and the right approach, and it was interesting, Maharaj, how you were saying that Krishna is attracted by humility and meekness, and thinking of all our previous acharyas that are before us, there's often a very distinct melancholy in their songs, deep melancholy or humility that we would say. And I think as devotees, sometimes we may mistake that as like a lacking culture, or a culture of there's something lacking within us. So I want this may be a question that is arising, because I think about it sometimes being a kirtan, I'm not going to say leader, but a kirtan facilitator. There is a need to have humility, true humility, to attract Krishna, but at the same time, there is no lacking for chanting. Nothing is missing for us to chant. everything is already present. There we are eternally full of knowledge and bliss in our purified state. So it's almost like a reverse engineering where we have to remove the things that are not supposed to be there to enter that state. But we do have to have humility to attract Krishna. And my question here is, how do we develop that real humility? Not the humility that is guilt or false pretense. We may say, like in all these bhajans, I am the most fallen. But do we really believe we're the most fallen? Are we really that humble? So how do we develop that right mood in chanting? Knowing that there's nothing lacking, but we need to have humility to attract Krishna, and in so doing also facilitate a festival for the devotees.
Would you like to say something?
We want to hear from you now, but very briefly, I always like the Chinese definition of humility. They say it's the vision of reality. When you are connected with the reality of you being a part of Krishna and dependent on Krishna, like the spark who is dependent on the fire, then you are in the reality, and all your lacking, whatever it may be, will quickly go, because Krishna takes care of you, like the fire takes care of the spark. The problem is you will fall out of the fire of Krishna when you think, now it's my strength. If the spark thinks it's my strength, it's wrong, but it can happily dance aware of its smallness without any feeling of minority complex when it dances in the fire. But it can only come in the fire if it is understanding, I'm not the fire, I'm the spark. I have to connect. Vision of reality. It's always blissful. Thank you, Harikirtan, for your wonderful reflections, also how to enter the festival with that feeling of, yes, I want to connect again with Krishna. I need Krishna, I must go to Krishna. And then whatever smallness there was will be replaced with ecstatic dancing joy. Like the spark becomes in the fire. Now we want to hear from the great speaker, Gaura Krishna.
Yeah, I was thinking about what I could share in this part. And when I think about festivals, I naturally go to my childhood, because I grew up in a devotee family, and festivals or attending festivals was a big part of our upbringing. And in almost every festival, we would go to the temple and take part in the various ceremonies and celebrations. And obviously, as a child, you don't really you're mostly there because your parents, they're like pushing you. We must go to the temple and take darshan. And we're more interested in, obviously, the fun things, which are the dramas and the prasadam and all these aspects. But Abhishek was also something which was like, wow, it just engages your mind, your eyes, everything is, and then when the garlands are throwing, it's, as a child, you're just like, I need that garland and that fruit garland, and it's there's so much bliss that comes from that. And I remember also when it was like these festivals, at the manor we have a drama group called the Bhaktivedanta Players who perform these very amazing productions of various leelas, and also, even though we didn't know, we were not into the philosophy so much, but these dramas would really help us meditate on the Lord. When Lord Nrsimhadev, even the scene with Hiranyakashipu is telling Prahlad, where is your Lord, and it becomes very intense, and the person who's playing Hiranyakashipu he's really doing the role really well, and then you hear this like the smoke and the thunder, and you see Nrsimhadev coming out, and there's this epic battle. And for us, I remember like it was so wonderful because you think of Lord Nrsimhadev and it just stays in your mind, and every year you look forward to that. So it's but then when I look on a deeper level, especially now being older, and I feel like those festivals and those experiences really carried me through my life, actually, because it somehow stayed as an impression, and I may not have understood so much then, but it somehow helped me come more and more closer to Krishna as the years go by. And of course, life has its challenges and it has its tests, but those moments really created a very deep impression or samskara, and help in moving forward in your spiritual life. And I was just thinking how fortunate we are to have this opportunity, and I found just a little quote or two quotes from Srila Prabhupada, where he shared something very nice about festivals, and I thought just to read that. I hope I have it. Yeah. So the first one it was a letter to Tamakrishna Maharaj, and Srila Prabhupada says that he's encouraging him to observe festivals. So he said, please observe many festivals that will keep both the public and the devotees alive. Temple means festivals, and festival means chanting and distribution of prasadam. And then in another quote, this was a lecture Srila Prabhupada gave at Rath Yatra in London, and he says, so this festival, taking part in these festivals means a step forward for our self-realization. And he goes on to speak about how simply by seeing the Lord on the chariot, one makes advancement for stopping the repetition of birth and death. And he's basically Srila Prabhupada encourages more and more to take part, because this whole process is it's wonderful. It's to chant, to worship the deities. All these things are helping to make a step forward in our devotional life and coming closer to Krishna. That's the purpose of these festivals. And I was just when I was hearing this from Srila Prabhupada and thinking, I could see how like these festivals and these moments of coming together and celebrating the Lord's appearance, they kind of help you more and more progress further. And another thing that I was thinking about was I had an interesting experience a few weeks ago. Obviously, Maharaj and myself, we we do a lot of traveling, and the last few weeks were very intense, and we were going from festival to festival, retreat to retreat. And we were at one retreat, and the retreat had finished, and at some point you're just like, oh, I can't. It's you just get exhausted physically and mentally, and but you have to go on to the next. And I remember I was in the car, and I was a little bit like, I'm just so tired, and just when is it all over? But this was more out of just being in exhaustion. And then we came to the temple, and I saw two devotees from China, and I'd known them because some years back I had gone to China with one very good friend of mine, Manu, and we went to do kirtan on the invitation of these devotees. But we hadn't seen these devotees in some time, and we were curious how they're doing and how comes there wasn't much contact. And so I asked them both, and they shared how the situation in China is not easy for them. And I think Krishna-kshetra Maharaj, you mentioned also that they can only have gatherings of like 10 people, and many of them, some may come, some don't come because they're afraid of the government is very controlling there, and it's not easy to be a devotee there. And they were sharing this, and then they were, and I was like, oh wow, and then they were sharing how being here in the temple, it was in Zurich, how they're just so grateful. And so one of them was sharing how it's been 2 years since they've been in a gathering like this, and they're just taking fully part in everything, even though they just arrived the day before and they have so much jet lag, and they were taking advantage of everything. And I was thinking about it, just like I think Krishna purposely arranged for that lesson, because it made me think about how fortunate we are, like we have this opportunity to be with so many devotees, to gather like this, to chant together, and it's such mercy that's come to us, and to not take it for granted, and to take real advantage of it. So I felt like that was a big wake-up call for me personally, and gave me a whole new perspective in festivals, and especially here in Simhachalam, it's how they observe it is so unique. And I was thinking how some years back we were on the procession here, and Kadamakanana Maharaj was leading, and then I was leading the kirtan, and I was somehow near him, and then he kind of motioned to me to tell me something, and then he said, here you won't find anywhere in the world where they celebrate like they do here, because it's a full day of just celebrations, and I very much feel coming to Lord Nrsingadev always is very, you really know the Lord is here, and you can contact him, and he will definitely respond. And so that's just some thoughts on some things. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Maybe I can give one question or about the ingredients for a celebration. Humility was mentioned, and because the Kuturi festival was mentioned, I was always thinking that the main aspect of Narottam Das Thakur's life was he was in separation. He had so much pain in separation, trying to meet the Lord again, and it's, as far as I understand, it culminated in the Lord actually appearing before him during that festival. So maybe we can talk a little bit about cultivating this feeling of separation, so maybe one day it can culminate in reunion.
Just one thought which may or may not fit, but I think it's a possible comment also to Harikirtan, Prabhu, your question about humility and serving the Lord. I was, and connected with Narottam Das Thakur, we've been over the weeks and months going through with a group of devotees the songs of Narottam, trying to look a little carefully at the Bengali also. And one general thing I find in so many of his songs is this combination of anticipation of meeting the Lord, serving the Lord, and humility. And it reminds me of this kind of New Age expression, affirmations, affirmations, where you're speaking something in the present tense like it's already going on. Something that you want to happen in the future, you speak about it like it's happening now. And many of his songs are like that. He's anticipating very intimate services in a tone like it's happening. And you feel a little bit confused, or I felt confused sometimes. Well, is he now talking about something that's actually happening that he's experiencing, or he's anticipating, he's hoping? In any case, there's always this sense of humility also. In one verse, he'll say, I'm fanning the Lord, and so on. In the next verse, he's saying, I'm the most fallen, I need your mercy. So it's this, seems like these two are going together very much. Anticipation is there, which is a kind of, hopefulness sounds like a kind of weak word. It's more like there's an element of confidence there even. I am going to meet the Lord, and I am going to serve. And instead of being proud, oh, look at me, I'm going to serve the Lord, it's rather, the feeling is the opposite. The feeling is, I am so small, and I'm so fortunate. It's sort of the combination of both. It's quite interesting. Yeah. And on that note, I'm going to have to go make a exit right.
Yeah,
Hare
we
Krishna.
will. Thank you very much for taking the time, and may your steps bring you to your goal.
Oh, I'll take that as your blessing. Hare Krishna.
Krishna-kshetra Maharaj ki jai. Maybe we can just continue in the round and elaborate about this topic or any other topic, or maybe also if Gadada Prabhu would like to say a few words.
Yes, Hare Krishna. For us, it's the perspective of a pilgrim coming to a holy place, which is, we are coming from a holy place and going to a holy place. We have our Panchatattva deities and Radha Kunja Bihari at the Vedic Academy, but coming here, it's like an extreme intensification of the worship which is taking place here, even if there's no festival. I think here's a very intense spiritual service going on to Shishi Palat Nrsingadev, and So entering into such an atmosphere is for a pilgrim like us very, very inspiring. And then having a festival even means pure devotional activities all the day. All the ingredients of bhakti are there in a very intensified way. It's just this intensification where one suddenly comes in, which has a very big effect on, I think, on the soul and on the whole personality. And festivals are normally short, so we are just here for 2 days. And it's for us very special because this festival is, for us, tomorrow we are celebrating Radhashtami. So we are thinking we are going to a Radhashtami festival, but we are actually coming to a Nrsingadev temple. So that's a that's always something confusing. How will it be? I remember still the times when this altar was opening, we had Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan here. It's quite some time ago, and we had Radhashtami festivals generally here because Srimati Radharani would be here. But we thought, this doesn't matter because Sacinandana Maharaj and krishna-kshetra Maharaj are here, so they will turn the atmosphere into Radharani's atmosphere, the devotees will, and the kirtans will. So that's very, especially we missed the Singer Chaturdasi here. So that's a very, very special combination of having Radhashtami and the celebration of Lord Nrsingadev here. And it's always very fascinating to observe this two ways of reciprocation with Lord Nrsingadev or with the deity. On the one side, everyone is is serving the Lord through this intense deity worship and taking darshan and kirtan and cooking and so many other things. On the other side, there is this very strong effulgence coming from the deity. This very strong what you are actually receiving if you're just doing nothing or you just be receptive in prayer, and so that's of course intensified in the festivals through all these activities which are done in relationship to the deity, having always these two sides. One is to serve, and the other is to receive. So that's very deeply inspiring experience. So I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So, and maybe on the topic of separation or any closing remarks, we can go one more round and then conclude this part of the program.
There is one work of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's called Bhajan Rahasya. Worshipping Krishna. And he has one chapter. It is towards the end, I believe it's the 6th chapter or 7th chapter. I'm sorry. Where he says the most congenial or the most efficient way to associate with Krishna for a soul in this world is to associate with him through feelings of separation. If you think a little bit about it, when a near and dear person is not with you at the moment, then if you think of the person with a feeling, oh, I would like to be again in your association, in some ways the person comes in your heart. No? You see the person, you feel towards the person, and so on. So it is interesting, especially in relationship to Krishna. You may not feel his presence outwardly. You may not engage and play with him, in serving him by fanning him or giving him foodstuffs.
But if you just can bring yourself to think, oh Krishna, I really wish you would be there, then somehow Krishna, who may be very distant from you, all of a sudden is in your heart. Do you understand why? Because feelings are in the heart, and if you have a feeling for Krishna, even in separation, oh, I need you, and so on, then Krishna is through this feeling of separation, which is a matter of the heart, ready in the heart. So Gadada spoke of the idea of pilgrimage. In pilgrimage you have one part, it's called Mandira Gamana. It is when the pilgrim has arrived in the place of pilgrimage, but now he directs his steps up the staircase to enter into the temple. And that is an emotionally very important part of pilgrimage. You are now coming very close to the Lord. You may think of what will you bring the Lord. There is the donation box. Okay, you put some donation. I mean, you Hare Krishna devotees are poor, but the normal pilgrim, he will bring something to the Lord. As he approaches the temple, he will think about, soon I am with the Lord. And in this way, the feelings of separation become, so to say, heightened and fulfilled as he practices Mandira Gamana, that is moving towards the temple. So all you pilgrims, all you devotees separated from Krishna, if you feel like that, do a lot of Mandira Gamana, approaching the temple. Prepare yourself, prepare your dress. You know, this is a time for your dress to be clean. You know, there should be nice, clean dress. The ladies may like to arrange their dress so that it is really pleasing to the Lord, and in this way prepare yourself and overcome your separation. Hare Krishna. But on your point, Govinda, the first way in which you can experience will be through feelings of separation. If you don't enter that, you are on the wrong road. It will never bring you to Krishna. This road, if you don't go through the road of separation, you will be in a, how do you say, zakase in English, a dead-end street, no? With your bhakti. This is Mahaprabhu's teaching. So only the road of separation brings you to Krishna. Everything else is a dead-end street. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, how to make Krishna appear. I think this is also relevant when we chant and lead kirtan to have this meditation that this is an opportunity to connect with Krishna and to say something to him. And yeah, this longing to see Krishna is definitely very powerful driving force to have some desire, bhakti. Or interesting is that also for me, I feel that even though there's this aspect of separation, still there's a confidence that we call confidence, maybe better word, or faith, strong faith that, like Krishna-kshetra Swami was saying, that this process will fructify, that it will lead to that. So the sweet spot is the separation, and the goal is the union, but maybe we need to stay in the sweet spot. Yeah. To always hanker and look for Krishna, and keep looking for Krishna. And festivals are, of course, great opportunities to experience that. And yeah, there was another thought I had this morning, and maybe a little bit off topic, but how we always read about different pastimes of different avatars of Krishna and Vishnu, and how they seem to be so distant, and how we would never imagine ourselves to be part of those stories. Only, let's say, close associates of Krishna get to be part of all his different leelas, as Ram, as Krishna, as whichever avatar. And this morning during the class I realized that we are actually in great fortune to be in the presence of Krishna's avatar and close part of his leela, of his name, one of his avatars, and we don't even realize that we're right there in that leela.
I feel also the power of these festivals is that it generates an atmosphere, especially amongst devotees. We often hear, be in the association of devotees, because it also it brings forth like these essential points in our spiritual life where we really wish to be close to the Lord. We really need the Lord. We need His shelter. We need His presence in our life. And these gatherings are really, there's an atmosphere generated by coming together. At the same time, I was thinking also, I really like when Maharaj, you share always about being, have your alone time with Krishna also, because in that time also it's one-on-one now. It's very personal with the Lord, and when you have these moments, it's deeply very, very nourishing, and also I feel very much that in that alone time you're able to really express yourself to the Lord and long for His mercy and for His shelter, for Radharani's shelter also, and so I think having that alone time is really crucial in a festival also, for each one of us to approach the Lord one-on-one and have your alone time with Krishna. So, but that's because there are so many devotees here and there is such a nice devotional mood. Of course, being in a temple, it's such a holy place. So, just like when we go to the holy Dham, we feel there's an energy here that's really, you just feel you kind of exit your world and you enter into the realm of the Lord, and it uncovers a lot of all the things which are not real, but you come to the real self, and also the real question, which is how can I serve you, my Lord? How can I come closer to you and remember you, and then these things can help to we can take this back into our life. So yeah, that's just some thoughts.
Thank you very much. Thank you again. Sacinandana Maharaj ki jai. Harikirtan Prabhu ki jai. Gaura Krishna Prabhu ki jai. If there's any inspiration somebody would like to share.
Just about this topic about remembering Krishna and feeling separation from Krishna, the another character that comes to mind apart from Srimati Radharani is, of course, Queen Kunti, wherein she says in the Bhagavatam, Padam Padam Yat Vipadam Natesham, that I get into misfortunes and distress at every step. So at every step when I get misfortunes and distress, I get to remember you. So of course that's a very high state of consciousness of a devotee. We're not really ready to, welcome misfortune into our lives just to remember Krishna. So that's a very, very contrasting, consciousness and character in remembering Krishna.
You can always remember Krishna when we're suffering and when we're celebrating. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.